I believe that will be Carmela Nunez, as well as Mascarella. And the tip is won by Layla Nunez, not Carmela. Carmela goes up with the first shot. No. Mascarella, the defensive force down low, forces the stop. Stephanie Vega had a fantastic game yesterday, finishing with 19 points. A three-pointer on the way and off the mark. That was from Perez. Driving middle, Tapayan sets up Monte. Good look, but off the mark. Offensive rebound tipped out. Nunez, no. A second offensive rebound, nearly a third. And out of bounds. It will stay with the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic, the lone, one of two 0-4 teams out of the 8 that entered this tournament. They're looking for that first win, as a steal by Colombia, heading back the other way, and a whistle as a foul is called. Good hands and good run out from Maria Acosta, as Mercado just barely got back to her. Acosta, 5'4" point guard, plays for Comuneros club team out of Colombia. And she goes 1 for 1, scoring the first point of the ball game, and giving Colombia the 1-point lead. Mercado showing off the handle, good defense, drops it off. Nunez inside for 2. Carmela and Layla, the Nunez twins, playing some solid minutes. Three-pointer on the way. Colombia cashes one from downtown. Not typical, as Maria Perez hits one, but for Colombia, 17% as a team in this tournament, 4 games. And that is actually the worst mark in the tournament. A welcome sight for them to knock down their first triple, as Nunez misses her second try. Colombia, pass could not be handled, and out of bounds off the hands of Morantes. As we head over to the chat, please be sure to jump in there. Let me know where you're watching from. As Chad says, Vamos Colombia, let's get this win and advance to 5th place. That is what is at stake here in this classification 5 through 8 bracket, the consolation bracket, if you will. Cecilia says, Vamos Colombia. As the Dominican Republic, Mercado trying to dice up, it's inside, can't finish through contact, and a shot clock violation as that shot did not hit the rim. Colombia, not the best shooting team in this tournament, 7th through 4 games at 28% from the field. They have really struggled from downtown, though, at 17%. As Mercado knocks down a jumper. And it hasn't been the Dominican Republic's strong suit either. 8th in field goal percentage through 4 games. 26.1%. Driving inside, dropping it off. Mascarella down low. Finishing for 2. Marta Mascarella also plays for Comuneros. In fact, 4 of the 5 Colombia starters play for Comuneros. There's a few people hopping in the chat. Got 22 lights so far. See if we can't hit that higher as Nunez nearly banks in the shot. Morantes comes away with it. Mascarella will fire from deep. Off front iron, no. Good rebound, Monte. Monte has played a solid role in this tournament. As Nunez gets inside and can't finish yet again. Colombia on a run out. That will be important for Colombia's offense to get out and push in transition. For the Dominican Republic, they've got to play good transition defense, get back. And they will light their chances against Colombia as Mascarella cannot finish. Shot at the rim, Mercado off to a hot start. As mentioned in the open, Mercado the leading scorer for this team. 10 points a night in this tournament. As Perez tries a long two, no. Nunez comes away with the rebound. Rebounding is a strong suit for the Dominican Republic as we did a foul, as they are second in rebounds per game in the tournament at 52.3 to only the United States. Colombia, on the other hand, seventh in rebounding, 43 a night. Switch to the chat. Luz says, "Vamos, Colombia." Miguel says, "Let's go, Dominican Republic." And Patrick saying, "Greetings from the USA. Thank you all so much for tuning in and chiming in the comments." As Tapayan, who's been a good force inside, able to draw the foul. Tapayan has struggled from the outside. Has not hit a triple through 4 games of this tournament. But averaging 9 points a night, 7 rebounds per game to go with a 1.5 assists. A really solid contributor at 5'8". Second free throw, up and in. For Tapayan. It's her first points. Make it 7-6. Pass deflected, and Mercado loses it out of bounds. There was a bit of contact there, as Miguel Reyes is pointing out. But Colombia takes over possession. Let's break down how both of these teams got here, starting with Colombia as they have the ball. Start out with a 67-59 win over Mexico. And unfortunately, that was as good as it was going to get as they commit an over and back violation, as they fell to the United States in the second pool play game, 93-29, before falling in a close one against Puerto Rico, 67-62. Puerto Rico just knows how to close a close game, and they did just that in the tough win over Colombia, who fell to 1-2. And that set them up with a date with Argentina. And let me tell you, Colombia, I was on the call for that game yesterday. It was within their grasp. They had a late lead. But Argentina just able to pull things out with a free throw from Milagros Morel. Shot at the very end was blocked, and Colombia finds themselves in the classification 5-8 bracket, as Emily Belize jets in and snags a rebound almost instantly for the Dominican Republic. Shot on the way, up and in. Mercado off to a hot start. That might need to be an adjustment for Colombia, picking up Mercado earlier. Was driving in and kicking out. Morantes, another drive and kick, drops it off, a 3 on the way. I think that was Ferreira. No. Offensive rebound. Step through. Nice move for 2. Maria Acosta. Acosta brings it back to a 1-point game. Tapayan Trying to change that. No on the nice reverse. Fighting on the offensive glass. And a foul. No, jump ball is called. Good effort from both of these teams. As it will stay, or go Colombia's way, rather. Of course, as I've mentioned, we will be interacting with those comments in the YouTube chat room. So then on YouTube, go search FIBA U16 Americas, as well as going to FIBA.basketball/Americas/U16 Women/2023 as another 3 falls for Colombia. But head there, and you can find a lot of information as well as the link to this broadcast. Join in on YouTube, interact in the chat, like and share with your friends. We're going to have a great time in here, but also you can interact with us on Facebook or Instagram on social media by following us at NetsGenHoops, as well as using the hashtag FIBA U16 Americas. We appreciate all of you already in the chat and all of you for watching, as we're under 3 minutes in a close one. Colombia starting to grasp a lead after they trailed 9-6, a little 5-0 run. Leila Nunez tries again from 3 off the mark. Belizio board cannot finish the reverse. Colombia trying to push. Good job by the Dominican Republic, not allowing them to get numbers. As a 3 on the way. This time no, again from Ferrero. Now 0 for 2 from downtown. Carmela Nunez attached baseline, fits to her twin sister. A pass over, finds its way back to Carmela. Good rotations from this Colombia defense, as Mercado can't finish over the top. And a shot clock violation. We have seen a few shot clock violations forced by Colombia, and they're just playing some really solid defense. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. Colombia and the Dominican Republic. As Colombia tats on, makes it a 7-0 run. So far, Maria Perez leading the way with a couple of triples. As Leila tries to attack, and Colombia all over it on defense. As both of these teams were relatively close in steals per game through 4 games of the tournament. It should be a well-matched team, as many categories were very even. Looking at the stats, Angel pointing out the nice defense from Colombia, but a foul is called, and Leila Nunez heads to the stripe. Nunez plays for Lady Guachos AAU in the United States, while representing the Dominican Republic. 6'1", listed as a shooting guard at 6'1". Gotta love that height. As she knocks down a couple of more free throws. To differ 4 points. 1 for 5 from the field, but 2 for 2 at the stripe. Maybe can get that shot going. As Ferrero, no good. Back iron on a long 2. And Camila Nunez into the ball game. Did not play in that first matchup, but gets right to the rim and has played in all 3 since. All 4 now. As we're down under a minute. All tied at 13 after a 4-0 run. Attacking the basket and taking one extra step. That's right. Jaislyn Pineda, 5'5" point guard. Pineda has played in now 3 games, just 3 minutes per game. As Nunez kicks it out. 3-pointer well off the mark from Torres. Another O board. Floater on the way and fouled. Going up, Emily Rivera into the ball game. Rivera has played in every game thus far, but only 6.8 minutes. Able to get to the free throw line here within a minute. Gives the Dominican Republic a chance to take the lead, and they do late in this first quarter. Angel in the chat. Oh, thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you so much for tuning in to the chat from Puerto Rico. As a 3 on the way. No good. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. And that first quarter is over. The Dominican Republic able to fight back after a 7-0 Colombia run. Finishes up the first quarter with a 6-0 run of their own and take a 15-13 lead into the break. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be right back with you as the Dominican Republic up early.
Who will you become when the moment arrives and you're carrying the expectations of an entire nation, representing your people and their dreams, the colorful faces in the streets, the screaming fans in the stands? It's time to make your move. All eyes on you, all hope, all heart. Because when you win for all.
Back from the break, and the Dominican Republic starting things off with the basketball. Inside and out. The drive and a jump ball. As Leila Nunez has it tied up. Then you're tuning in to the FIBA U16 Women's Americas Championship. We are running the classification games. The winners will move on for a chance for 5th place. Well, the 2 teams that lose in these first 2 games this afternoon into the early evening, those 2 teams will compete for 7th place. As Mascarella, no good on a wild shot. Back the other way, Mercado able to break past the pressure defense. Nunez again off the mark. Has to keep getting those shots though. It is good offense. As that was Carmela Nunez. A deep three on the way, no good. And the rebound back the other way, top A on. Nunez fires and hits for three. As mentioned, the Nunez twins have to keep firing even if they aren't hitting right away. Leila Nunez knocks down her first triple. Was 1 for 5 before that one. Now 2 for 6. For 7 points and 3 rebounds here early on. And Mercado adds to the easy offense with the steal and score. 8:20 to go in the second quarter, and Colombia finds themselves down by 7. Continues on an 11-0 run by the Dominican Republic, as Julio Reda wants to talk things over in that huddle. As we will hop over to the chat, it is worth mentioning yet again. Hop over into our YouTube chat if you are watching. Thank you so much for watching. But look it up on YouTube, FIBA U16 Americas, where you can like, comment, and share. I'll be sure to interact with you throughout this game, as I'll be covering the first 2 games of a 4-game slate this afternoon. Or you can find the link by going to FIBA.basketball/Americas/U16 Women/2023. Whole lot of information there, but the link where you can hop in, chat with us, interact with us on social media using the hashtag FIBA U16 Americas, and following us on Facebook and Instagram at NextGenHoops. I'm Andrew Willett on the call. You can follow me on social media at VACWillett22 and at APB Show. As we are having a good time in the chat. Thank you to all of you interacting in there. Colombia trying to stop this run from the Dominican Republic. The drive and kick. Shot falls, and that's a heck of a way to come out of the timeout. As Morantes made that triple, her first shot of the game. Up and in. Angel saying, I can see Colombia winning this after the Dominican Republic's power wears off. It's a good one. Smear says, can either one of these teams compete with the United States team? Now, for Colombia, they did go up against the United States, and I think they fought hard, but they still did not come close, as the United States won 93-29, and that's how they started this losing streak that they are on, losing the last 3 games, including that one. As for the Dominican Republic, they did play the United States last night, a 106-34 defeat at the hands of the U.S. So neither one of them necessarily in the same category as the U.S. It's a 3-pointer on the way. No good. Second chance after the O board. And Morantes scores back-to-back baskets. Brings it back down to a 3-point game. And that leads to a timeout for the Dominican Republic. 20-17. And this time Miguel Reyes wants to talk things over. Miguel responding to the question about whether these teams could compete with the U.S. says, not yet. I feel the gap will keep closing over the years. Says basketball fluency keeps growing. Great point, Midale. Angel, thank you again. I so greatly appreciate it. It's happy to interact with you here, and thank you for watching. Thank you for jumping into the chat. Having a great time. And yes, bring the thumbs up. We're at 50 right now. Around 600 watching right now. So let's try and jump that up. Let's see if we can't hit 75. 75 thumbs up, 75 likes here on the YouTube stream. As I mentioned when talking about these two teams, it has been a game of runs so far, but it is very close, and that's because these two teams are very similar in terms of their stats. As the Dominican Republic shoots 27.5% from the field. From 2-point range. Excuse me, 26.1% from the field for the Dominican Republic. 28% for Colombia. Very similar. From 3-point range. They are near the bottom. The Dominican Republic does have the advantage there, though. From 2-point range, the advantage goes to Colombia. Rebounding is also an advantage for the Dominican Republic, as well as blocks per game. They have a little bit more size down low than Colombia. Steals per game, very similar, 12.7 to 12.3, third and fourth in the tournament, respectively. And we've mentioned a few advantages for the Dominican Republic, whether that be three-point shooting, free throw shooting, rebounds per game, blocks per game, but turnovers per game. The Dominican Republic commits 27.7. Colombia, even with that loss to the United States, only commits 13 per contest, which is a very good mark at any level. As another jumper goes, and a 6-0 run from Colombia. The game of runs continues. As Angel says, Colombia coming back. Boricua says, at what time Puerto Rico will play Canada? And that is coming to you here on our stream, 8 p.m. local time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Puerto Rico and Canada, a game to watch tonight, as Craig will take over the call. I will be covering these first couple of games, with Brazil and Mexico up next, after the Dominican Republic and Colombia. Shot on the way, back iron, no. And Mascarella pulls down the board. We saw a 4-game slate yesterday to decide the 4 semifinalists. Puerto Rico took down Brazil 57-49. Colombia fell to Argentina 55-54. And those first 2 games of the day I was on the call for. Fantastic games, very close and competitive all the way to the very end, especially for Colombia falling just short of qualifying for the FIBA U16 Women's World Cup in 2024. As for the United States and the Dominican Republic fell in that one by 72 points, 106-34. And then Canada took down Mexico, dominant fashion, 71-44. Jumper on the way, Mercado, no. Mascarella with the board and tries the outlet pass, but that one's picked off by Rivera. Miguel helping to answer the question in the chat. So I asked you. You know, everyone's got their predictions for how this tournament will go, but my question is, which game do you think will be closer? Canada and Puerto Rico, or the United States up against Argentina? which one has the better chance of being the better team. As we sit here with 3.5 left in the second quarter. Great time to remind that you need to hop into this chat. Thank you so much for watching, but join on YouTube by searching FIBA U16 Americas on YouTube. Nice move from Tapayan, can't finish. But join in on YouTube, like, comment, share, interact with us, as I'll be sure to shout you out here on the broadcast. You can also interact with us on social media by following us at NextGenHoops and using the hashtag FIBA U16 Americas. Carmela Nunez nearly got a 3 to rattle home. Instead, a foul, and pursuing the offensive glass, Emily Rivera goes down, as well as Para. Para trying to snatch this rebound. Good hustle from Rivera, but a little too much contact for my liking. 22-21, the Dominican Republic holds the narrow advantage. Miguel says, I can't type and chew gum at the same time. Hey, it's tough for a lot of us out here. As Colombia has a chance to regain the lead. The Dominican Republic has rocked with this zone from the very start, as it has burned them at times, as we did a foul and the shot falls. What might that mean? So they count the basket as well as take it out underneath? Yes, they do. They give Colombia the 3 points. Smurf 421 says Canada versus Puerto Rico will be the closer game rather than the United States and Argentina. Argentina, I feel like, might have that right formula with the 3-point shooting that can make the game close and give the United States a stare. But they do have a turnover problem, and defensively, they have not been the strongest so far in this tournament. As Colombia moves the ball around, cannot make it a 6-point possession, as a foul against the offense. Going after the offensive rebound. But they still regain the lead, 24-22. As we hit the 2-minute mark, 3-pointer well off the mark. Leila Nunez was well contested by Ferrero. Mascarella takes it up herself. Some stats that jump out in this one, as the Dominican Republic zone seemingly continuing to bother Colombia, forcing a turnover. All the way to the rim, and able to finish. Yep, Alana Monte. As Colombia shooting a higher percentage, 30% compared to the 24% from the Dominican Republic. Here in the tie ball game, sweet step-through move again, cannot finish for Maria Acosta. Mercado with numbers, driving and finishing. Good sequence for the Dominican Republic, with the transition score followed by the stop, and another transition score. Mercado adds to her total, up to a dozen on the night. 6 for 11, all within the 3-point arc. Got that along with 4 boards and 2 assists and 2 steals, doing it all. As we do get a shot clock violation, I believe. Tough break as Ferrero knocked down the triple. And instead of the shot clock violation, a foul is called against the Dominican Republic. And a timeout taken here as we approach halftime. So we've got the question, When is the U.S. versus Argentina game from Smear 421? And that game will tip off at 5:30 local time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. That will be the first game Cred takes over the call, as I've got the first two covered with the Dominican Republic and Colombia, followed by Brazil and Mexico. And to finish things up, Craig on the call with the U.S. and Argentina, followed by Puerto Rico and Canada. We sit now in a close ball game. 26-24, the Dominican Republic on top, shooting 26% from the field compared to 29% for Colombia. They are dominating on the rebounding front, 31-22, as they have 20 defensive rebounds compared to 16 for Colombia, and 11 offensive rebounds compared to 6 again for Colombia. So on both sides of the glass, they are winning. From three-point range, neither team shooting that well. The Dominican Republic, 10%, while Colombia, 17%. Steals pretty even. Assists, Colombia with 4 compared to 2 for the Dominican Republic. Turnovers, exactly even at 9 apiece. As well as blocks, points off turnovers, all very similar. Points in the paint, again, a 2-point difference after Acosta ties things up at 26 all. Down to the last seconds, a 3 on the way, Tapayan. No, and the O board was brought down, but no shot. It's up as we head to halftime, all tied at 26 apiece. A very even matchup to this point, with a whole half left to decide who advances to the classification game for that 5th seed. On this side of the bracket, the Dominican Republic and Colombia starting things off, one half in the books, followed by Brazil and Mexico. As that wraps up classification games, it is semifinals day, as the 4 semifinalists also advance into the FIBA U17 Women's World Cup in 2024. Will have the last 2 games of the afternoon to decide who will play in the championship and 3rd place game. Leading scorers in this one to this point for Colombia. We've got 5 points for Maria Acosta, 6 for Maria Perez, 5 again from Lisa Ferrero, 4 from Luisa Morantes, 2 apiece from Marta Mascarella and Luisa Parra, as well as Isabella Rincon. As that wraps up the scoring for Colombia. For the Dominican Republic in this tie ball game, 12 points for Ariana Mercado, 7 from Leila Nunez, 4 from Alana Monte, 2 from Emily Rivera, and just 1 point from Karina Tapayan. Scoring hard to come by, but we are all knotted up here in this tight battle. 26 apiece, second half coming your way after this, as you are watching FIBA, the basketball channel.
Who will you become when the moment arrives and you're carrying the expectations of an entire nation? Representing your people and their dreams, the colorful faces in the streets, the screaming fans in the stands. It's time to make your move. All eyes on you, all hope, all heart. Because when you win for all.
One half in the books, the second half almost underway, as we are all knotted up at 26 apiece here in the first of 4 games. At the half, it is the Dominican Republic tied at 26 with Colombia, as we are starting off today with 2 games in the classification 5 through 8 bracket, consolation bracket if you will, with Brazil and Mexico competing next. The winners will battle for 5th tomorrow, while the losers will play for 7th tomorrow afternoon into the early evening. And then we wrap up today. The United States and Argentina going up against Puerto Rico and Canada. As out of halftime, a 3-pointer on the way. Colombia can't get it to fall. We had a pretty even first half. A lot of the statistical categories very similar, as well as a tie ball game. 25% compared to 29% from the field. 3-pointers, 9 or 10% compared to 17%. Steals even. Assists 5-2. Turnovers 11-9. Blocks 2-1. Points from turnovers 6-7. And that, all in all, added up to a tie ball game heading into the break, as Colombia feels good about where they are. But back the other way, the Dominican Republic knocks down a shot. And a steal, leading the other way, again off the mark, and a foul. With that whistle, it stays with the DR. Nunez passes it to Mercado. Drives into the lane against 2. Nearly banks it in. Rebound. Corralled by Mercado. Throws it up and in. Mercado adds to her team high total. But back the other way, Rincon knocks down a mid-range jumper. Back and forth we go. Some early scoring in the first 2 minutes of the second half. Belize. Ball finds its way to Nunez, who knocks down the triple. Another lead change. Chad joining us says, wow, great game so far. A 3-point response. Front rims it. As Capeon comes out of the crowd into a pull-up 2 and buries it. 35-31. The Dominican Republic, after trailing just a moment ago, has a 4-point lead. How can Colombia respond? The 3-point shooting, not their strong suit. 8th in this tournament through 4 games, and below 10% right now from 3-point range. 4 for 21. As a step-back jumper, Monte, no. Belize all over the glass and out of bounds. It will go the way of Colombia. Colombia competed the best out of anybody against the United States. Fell in a close one with Puerto Rico to solidify a date with Argentina, where they came just short of that FIBA World Cup position. There's a couple of turnovers back and forth. Capeon controls. Mercado screen into the mid-range area, picks up her dribble with 6 on the shot clock. Mercado drives baseline. A step back along the baseline is pure. Ariana Mercado up to 14 points. And you know what? That's 16 points, rather, as the Dominican Republic now holding a 6-point advantage. A game of runs continues, as the Dominican Republic finds themselves on a 7-0 run. Their best run was an 11-0 run in the second quarter, as Nunez tries to make it 10. Shot no and out of bounds. Colombia will take over possession. Colombia to this point 4 for 23 from downtown and 13 for 43 from the field, 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Only 2 free throws, as they're really struggling to get the ball inside. A lot of triples, over half their shots to this point, as Perez fires off another one. No, and the board. Belize, an adjustment for the Dominican Republic. She did not start in this game, but did start the second half and has controlled the glass as Tapayan is fouled on the way up and draws a couple of free throws. As mentioned, Emily Belize, 6'5", playing around 17 minutes per game in this tournament, only averaging 2 points per night, but doing a lot of her work that just goes unnoticed by the stat sheet. 6 rebounds per game in the tournament, but it's a tremendous defensive force in the middle, as well as corralling offensive rebounds on the other end. Ferrero could not score in transition, and the size of the Dominican Republic really bothering Colombia. Has a shot up and no. Rebound Mascarella, or actually Morantes. Mascarella takes it up. Can't finish the floater. It's good to see a couple of inside shots for Colombia. Just not able to knock them down as Tapayan navigates her way all the way to the rim and make that a 10-0 Dominican Republic run, leading to a timeout from Colombia, as the DR leads it 40-31 here with 4:14 to go in the third quarter. Whoever wins this game will advance to the classification game for 5th place up against the winner of Mexico and Brazil, which takes place immediately after this one. And then we will get into the semifinal matches, with the United States going up against Argentina first at 5:30 local time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, followed by Canada and Puerto Rico starting at 8 p.m. local time and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For all of you tuned in, thank you so much for watching. Try and head into our YouTube stream where you can hop in the chat, get involved, and comment, as I will try to interact with as many of you as possible, shouting you out on the broadcast. But you can find it by searching FIBA U16 Americas on YouTube, or going to FIBA.basketball/Americas/U16women/2023, where you will find the link as well as a lot of other information. But go ahead and click on the link, get in here to our broadcast, and chime in on what you think, interact with us, as well as interacting with us on social media by following us at NextGenHoops and using the hashtag FIBA U16 Americas. Huge thank you to everyone tuned in thus far. Shot up and in from Stephanie Veda, and that was a much-needed score. Veda has been quiet tonight. That was her first basket, only her third field goal attempt. Able to stop the bleeding during a 10-0 run. Capeon on the inside, 3-0, the follow. Off the mark, another offensive rebound for the Dominican Republic. And whistle blown. Monte off the old glass, heading to the free throw line. When it comes to the rebound battle, the Dominican Republic is dominating. And no free throws coming, rather. As Nunez fires a floater, no. Nearly another offensive rebound. It is corralled by Tapayan, who kicks it out, but is fouled on the pass. So another inbound coming. But in a 40-ball game, the rebound battle now a 15 rebound advantage for the Dominican Republic, 42-27, including 14 offensive rebounds for the DR as Mercado makes a nice play. It leads out to a deep three-pointer off the mark. And with that, a shot clock violation after another offensive board from Monte. If you are in the chat right now, let me know where are you tuning in from. As the Dominican Republic and Colombia face off. Veda has it poked. Up the other way, it's Mercado. Love to see her attacking the rim like that, and she has had a fantastic game. Last time against the United States, Mercado had 6 points. Second most on the team, and they only had 34 points. But shot 1 for 6 from the field, 0 for 1 from downtown. So far in this one, Mercado, 18 points, 9 for 16. Absurd efficiency from the field to do it with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 steals. As Mercado checks out, hits the bench after giving the DR a 9-point advantage. Attacking baseline, step through, nice move for Colombia. Shot no, and the rebound Rivera. Camila Nunez on the push, sweet Euro step, no at the rim. The follow, Monte called for steps. .212 left in the third quarter, a 9-point ball game. Can Colombia gather enough offense to come back? We will see. They also have to stop the runouts from the Dominican Republic. 3 on the way from Veda. That rattles home. That's some much needed offense for a team that was only shooting 4 for 24 from downtown to that point. Now 5 for 25, up to 20%, which is an improvement. As the Dominican Republic turns it over, and Perez finishes things off on the other end. Maria Perez, 5'4" point guard. As the DR really struggling without Mercado out there on the floor. At the rim. Nice finish, much needed finish from Emily Belize. As that the other way, a foul on Belize. (44-38) with substitutions coming. Tapayan as well as Leila Nunez. first free throw falls for Acosta, who's out there with Valerin Lopez, Marta Maslarella, Maria Perez, and Stephanie Vega. 5 on the floor for the Dominican Republic coming down the court. Emily Belize, Leila Nunez, Carmela Nunez, Camila Nunez, and Emily Rivera. As Camila Nunez can't finish. 4-point game. Colombia suddenly finds themselves within striking distance as they add 2 more. Might be in timeout range, but the third quarter coming to a close so soon. 40 seconds now. As Miguel Reyes cannot be happy with his club's turnovers to this point. 17 through 3 quarters. Still 30 seconds left. Acosta, drive kick, 3 on the way, off the mark. And instead of grabbing the rebound, Colombia almost had it. And they commit the foul, trying to hit the ball back. "17 turnovers, and they have been the crux of the issue here in this third quarter. They've committed nearly as many as they had the entire first half, as many of those coming in the last 2 minutes with Ariana Mercado on the bench. Nunez able to push the lead back to 3. Averaging 8.3 points per game, 5.8 rebounds per game in this tournament. Playing nearly 34 minutes per game. Gets it back into a 2-possession game, but not for long. Maslarella all the way to the rim for 2, and the chance for 1 more. Maslarella with the ball fake, through contact, and finishing easily at the rim. Making it look easy. Marta Maslarella. Tony Thatch chiming in. Thank you for tuning into the chat. Says the Dominican Republic taking their foot off the gas as they push with 2. A wild pass, maybe shot at the buzzer. Still 1.3 left. Sophie says Republic needs to make some changes. As the inbound, Maslarella does not get a shot off, and at the end of 3, still a tight ball game. The Dominican Republic holding a narrow advantage, 46-44 over Colombia. I was asked, could Colombia make the stretch run? So far, they have gotten themselves back in it. As the fourth quarter after this.
Who will you become when the moment arrives and you're carrying the expectations of an entire nation? Representing your people and their dreams, the colorful faces in the streets, the screaming fans in the stands. It's time to make your move. All eyes on you, all hope, all heart. Because when you win for all.
excuse me for the delay. A 2-point ball game in the first classification 5 through 8 game here in the consolation bracket. These 4 teams lost yesterday in the quarterfinals of the FIBA U16 Americas Championship. The 4 semifinalists, the U.S., Argentina, Canada, and Puerto Rico, will play later this evening. But the 4 teams who could not advance and qualify for the FIBA U17 Women's World Cup playing right now to determine the seeding at the very end, the results at the end of this bracket. Fighting for a spot to play in the 5-6 contest tomorrow. As Veda with the nice spin move cannot finish. Second time, no again, but rips it away. 3-pointer, nearly banked in, and Tapayan pulls down the tough rebound and comes out of the heap. But a bad pass turnover. Monte could not handle the pass. I'm Andrew Willett on the call in this one. As Colombia found themselves trailing by 9 late in the third quarter. Ariana Mercado checks out, and Colombia makes a run just like that. Find ourselves right back in a 2-point, 1-possession game. As Colombia always within fighting distance. Every game outside of the United States game has been decided by 10 points or less. As Tapayan, drive, drop off, mid-range, no. Rebound saved in, but Colombia, Perez has it. As the Dominican Republic settling in, Belize nearly making a play on defense. Instead, numbers now for Colombia. The shot still no. Great job. Leila Nunez getting the stop and then finishing the stop with the rebound as Monte, another mid-range jumper well off the mark for the DR. Mascareya back the other way. Drops it off to the corner. 3-pointer, no. And Mercado draws the foul. Miguel Reyes not happy with his squad. 7:23 left. Hop into our YouTube stream and jump in on the chat. As you can find it by searching FIBA U16 Americas on YouTube or going to FIBA.basketball/Americas/U16Women/2023, where you can find the link and a whole lot more. And you can hop in here, interact with us. I'll be sure to shout you out. Also interact with us by following us on Facebook and Instagram at NextGenHoops and using the hashtag FIBA U16 Americas. As Colombia forces yet another shot clock violation. The Dominican Republic got out to a 9-point advantage and seemed to fool the Jets a little bit. As Ferrero hits and makes a 3. Big time basket for Ferrero. Ferrero up to double figures, leading all scorers for Colombia in nearly 18 minutes of action. 4 for 13 from the field, 3 for 8 from downtown, including that one. As Colombia has finally put themselves back in the lead. See the number 6 3-pointers for Colombia, as they have now ticked a little bit higher in terms of field goal percentage compared to the Dominican Republic. But hitting all of those 3-pointers certainly has been a help. There was 6:50 left. Miguel Reyes talking with his team. And he can't be happy with their effort as of late. As he knows what's at stake in this game, a chance to finish 5th in this tournament. At least not 7th or 8th, which would be the case if they were to lose here in the last 6 minutes and 50 seconds, trailing by 1. Inbound into Mercado. Mercado guarded closely and able to draw the foul, and that's what you got to do when you're being pressured like that. When the defensive pressure on the ball handler is a little too tight for your liking, you got to put the shoulder and get around. It's unlikely if they're playing you that close that they will be able to stay in front of you. But a turnover, and Colombia up by 1. Now has a chance to add to it. Colombia fell in a heartbreaker to Argentina. Nearly had the victory, leading late in the 4th quarter. But Argentina just held on to pull off the 1-point victory. 55-44 in the quarter, 54 in the quarterfinals rather. As the Dominican Republic regains the lead. So much time left as we're under 6. Ball swings around, 3 on the way. Back iron again off the mark. From 3-point territory, the Dominican Republic 2 for 15. Colombia now 6 for 28. A good drive and kick. And all the way to the basket, Karina Capellan. Impressive finish from Capellan. And a 4-0 run. Nearly quenched. Another 3 off the mark. Colombia has had to settle for a lot of those, as Mercado has it poked away. Stays with the Dominican Republic, as Mercado has had quite the day. 18 points, 9 for 18, and that includes missing her last 2 shots. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals. As the inbound finds its way to Monte, drive and kick, 3-pointer off the mark. And a foul called as Colombia was trying to push the ball in transition. Under 5 to go here in this classification game. With Perez inbounding for Colombia and taking over the point. Mascarella nearly has it poked away. Ball comes up and a jump ball is called. Mercado and Valerin Lopez get into a tie-up, not Lopez, rather, Vega. As Mercado was trying to come away with it. Both teams, or both players rather, get into a short scuffle as Mercado heads to the bench. Mercado much needed for this team, as it looks like she is getting some medical attention over there on the sideline. Colombia now has a chance to strike all the way to the basket, and a foul is Colombia being number 8 is because of shot selection. Shoot a very low 17% through this point in the tournament. And so far, sits for 29 in this game, 21% from downtown. At the free throw line, a 2-for-2 trip. Now 5 for 7 in this one, 72%. 4 minutes, 20 seconds remaining. Tapeon running the point. Thought about a jumper. Instead, over to Nunez. One dribble, crossover. Tapeon. The spin it, or Monte rather, has it poked away. Up ahead, Mastarella. And Colombia regains the lead. 51-50. Under 4 minutes. And the Dominican Republic, I think they need their point guard as Belize fires. No. The follow Monte up and in. Another lead change. The Dominican Republic back on top. 52-51. Here under 4 minutes. All the way to the rim. Might have gotten away with a step. But the score for Acosta. And the 16th lead change. 53-52. That's Colombia. Picks up the steal and the score. Perez, the beneficiary. As across half court. Comes Nunez all the way to the rim and is fouled. Much needed opportunity for more points. I thought there could have been a couple of calls down the stretch. Potentially a travel against Colombia. Got away with a foul potentially on the steal. Nonetheless, a 4-0 run puts them back on top. See if Nunez can cut into that deficit. Cannot make the first free throw. Angel chiming in, pointing out that they were correct about Colombia. You'd love to see it. As we're brought down to a 2-point game. And whistle blown, as I believe maybe a substitution. And play ball under 3 minutes. Mercado comes back in. We'll see if Colombia can hang on now. As they had quite the turn of events. Mercado off the steal, no. And a foul. No, not a foul. Out of bounds is the whistle blown. As Perez to not jump back in bounds. To grab the rebound, rather. Into Nunez. Mercado gives it up. Tapeon. Who gives it back to Mercado with only 4 on the shot clock. Floater. Back iron, no. And out of bounds, I believe they will say off of the Dominican Republic. Leonardo Moore in the chat says number 12, Ariana Mercado. Hit all day. She needs to let it go. As Mascarella blocked at the rim. Nice Euro step. But didn't hand in there. Nunez. Mercado goes behind her back. Now stops at the logo. Guarded well. Thought about a step back. Steps into a floater. No. And the good block out from Colombia underneath as Belize picks up the foul. Colombia shutting down the DR on offense. And they find themselves just a couple of offensive possessions away from potentially putting the needed cushion in this classification game. Step back three, Stephanie Veda, back iron, no. Good offensive rebound, step through. Another shot off the mark from Acosta. Stapayan dribbles past her defender. In transition, all the way up and in. Tie ball game at 55 apiece. I was just talking about how Colombia, with a couple of scores to put this one away in the Dominican Republic, says no way. They tie it up at 55 all. Here with 1 minute 12 seconds remaining. Again, coming down to the wire. Here for these lower seeds in the tournament. They match up well with each other. And that's what we've seen all game long. A 2-point advantage for the Dominican Republic at halftime. All tied up at halftime. Or excuse me, at the end of the first quarter it was a 2-point advantage, 15-13. All tied up at halftime. Then the Dominican Republic gets out to a hot start in the third quarter, holding a 9-point advantage before Colombia storms all the way back and brings it back to within 2 at the end of 3. Here in this fourth quarter, I believe it was a 50-47 Dominican Republic lead before a solid stretch run of about 6-0 for Colombia. And that gave them a 2-point lead twice, up 55-53 most recently. But the Dominican Republic responds. After getting shut down on offense, they create their own on the defensive end. And it leads to 2 points and a tie ball game down to the last 72 seconds of action. Ariana Mercado was the player subbed out in the third quarter with was 9 for 16 from the field for 18 points. Has not scored since then. Colombia went on a huge run, and she has been ice cold here in this fourth quarter. Also chipping in 3 other players in double figures: Karina Capean, Alana Monte, and Leila Nunez. On the opposite side, the player with the ball, Maria Perez, is the leading scorer for Colombia, and she adds to it up to 12 points as Colombia regains the lead. Capean in transition, able to draw the foul on the way to the rim. Might have taken a hit to her nose. As there was some contact there. And trailing by 2, the Dominican Republic needs this possession, needs these free throws from Capean. Capean, who is averaging 9 points per game in the tournament, 7 boards on 22% from the field, has yet to hit a 3. And in this game, 10 points, 4 for 9 from the field, and make it now 3 for 6 from the free throw line for 11 points. Back to a 1-point game, 45 seconds left. Zach Young tuning in the chat, saying, "Oh man, this is intense." Yes, it is, Zach. Down to the last 40 seconds. Vega has it poked away. Capean settles it down. The DR with numbers tries to go down low. Bad pass, turnover. Perez coming away with it as she is nearly tackled on one end. Capean trying to go for the ball, picks up the foul. And she is still down on the floor. The officials huddle up as well as the players on the court around Perez, the game's leading scorer. Just came down hard on that knee, it appears, right on the floor. Capean trying to go for the ball, and part of her weight landing came right down And with that, either a timeout or they might go review something. Tony Thatch saying this is football now. As well as saying they didn't need the missed free throws. That is very true. As they are going to review that play. Again, as we come down to the wire here, make sure to tune in on YouTube by going to YouTube and searching FIBA U16 Americas, or going to FIBA.basketball/Americas/U16 Women/2023, where you can make sure to like and share and interact with us, as I'll shout you out in the chat, or interact with us on Facebook or Instagram at NetsGenHoops. Follow us there and use the hashtag FIBA U16 Americas. As we bring you a whole lot of action today. The first game of 4 wrapping up right now. As out of the timeout, out of the official review rather, I believe it will just be a common foul. Colombia with a 1-point lead and the ball. 2.6 seconds separate game clock and shot clock. As I believe the Dominican Republic will have to foul. For some reason, they don't pressure the inbounds at all. And they will maybe rely on this last 2 seconds. As the trap comes. But good job from Acosta to draw the foul. That was an option. As Leila Nunez picks up the foul. And I believe that will do it. In terms of a shot clock, no more. And a timeout taken by Colombia. They want to make sure they did this just right. Here with 12.8 seconds remaining. Zach Young saying they have to foul. I agree, Zach. I thought they should have done that much earlier if they were going to at all. As it's coming down to the wire. It will take some major theatrics for the Dominican Republic to get back into this game or come out on top. 12.8 seconds. A shot in the last 10 seconds would be incredible for Colombia. You're just focused on one thing, that's getting the basketball inbounds and to your best free throw shooters. Julio Reda probably drawing up an inbounds play. Easing his team in as they want to find a place in the 5-6 game. And out of the timeout, Colombia will have Acosta inbounding. A guard, Coach Rueda trusts. And she is out there with Luisa Morantes, Maria Mosquera, Maria Perez, and Stephanie Vega. 12.8 on the game clock. No shot clock remaining after that last foul. And the inbounds nearly stolen. Great hustle play from Ariana Mercado. But deflected out of bounds with 11.3. As a substitution, Belize checks out. Rivera checking in. The 5 defenders on the floor. Capean, Mercado, Monte, Nunez, and Rivera. As Acosta able to get it in. And a foul is called. Monte nearly poked it away. And with 7.6 free throws coming. A lot of love for the hustle from Taters and Jose. as it will stay, as free throws coming for Colombia. A chance to put this one away potentially. Mascarella dials home the first. Mascarella, 8 points, 8 boards, 1 assist on the night. Misses the second free throw. A chance now for the Dominican Republic in transition all the way to the rim, and a foul is called. A late whistle, and Colombia nearly got away with that one. A late whistle, and Capellan with a chance to give the Dominican Republic a tie. 2 free throws on the way. First one back iron, no. So with 1.5 seconds, Capellan in the game now 3 for 7 from the free throw line. Has to miss this one, and the offensive rebound putback, never mind. As the free throw counts, and now the officials blow time dead with a timeout potentially, or maybe a substitution. Yes, it will be a substitution, as Colombia, with 1.5 seconds left, is going to need a bit of a miracle. For some reason, the clock not exactly right. As Colombia just has to inbound the ball one time. Did it in, throw it up as high in the air on that side of the court as you can. At the bare minimum, if you don't call timeout, throw the ball down the court. If the Dominican Republic catches it running away from the basketball, it will be very tough for them to get a shot off. And as they continue to work on clock problems, the players still stand, waiting. What a finish to this one. All the way down to the wire. 1 point ball game. After Karina Capellan goes 1 for 2 at the free throw line. 1.1 is what is left on the clock. Now 1.4. And I think that's where they will keep it. 1.4. The Dominican Republic needing a steal. Colombia doing exactly what they needed to do as the ball game is over. Colombia wins a close contest over the Dominican Republic to advance to the 5-6 classification game. Colombia does what it takes. After falling in a close contest yesterday by 1 point, today they picked up the 1 point victory over the Dominican Republic. With the win, Colombia will get set to face the winner of Mexico and Brazil, while the Dominican Republic gets ready for the loser of that matchup, with that game coming up next. I will stay on the call, so hop over to that stream for Brazil and Mexico coming up after this one. But Colombia coming out on top in a wild victory, 58-57. As we run through the stats, 33% from field for Colombia, 30% for the Dominican Republic. They also shoot a higher percentage from 3, 20% compared to 12.5% for the Dominican Republic. Free throws very similar at around 66, 67, 68, 69%. Steals, Colombia with 3 more, 14-11. Assists, 4 more, 10-6. Turnovers, The Dominican Republic really struggled. 26 in this game. Colombia 16, a little more than their average, but they still win that battle, turnover battle. Blocks 3-2, and points off turnovers 25 for Colombia, 12 for the Dominican Republic. That was a huge factor in this ball game, as they also they lost points in the paint rather, 34-28 the Dominican Republic. But again, that points off turnovers 25-12 just about does it, as Colombia comes out on top for the Dominican Republic. They were led in scoring 18 from Ariana Mercado, 12 from Karina Capayan, 13 from Leila Nunez, 10 from Alana Monte, 2 apiece from Emily Rivera and Emily Belize, and that did the scoring for Colombia. They got contributions from Luisa Parra with 2 points, 4 apiece from Luisa Morantes and Isabella Rincon, 7 from Stephanie Veda, 9 apiece from Marta Moscarella and Maria Atosta, and then a dozen, leading the way from Maria Perez with 7 boards, 4 assists, and 3 steals, as it's Colombia coming out on top and advancing to the classification 5-6 game, awaiting the winner of Brazil and Mexico. That game coming up next here on the FIBA, the basketball channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of FIBA U16 Women's Emeritus Championship. I'm Andrew Willett. Stay with us as we've got 3 more games, including the semifinals, coming up later this afternoon into the evening.